Hey everybody, Economic Ninja here. I hope you're doing great. We're going to talk about the truth behind the $1 trillion platinum coin. Now, this is an idea that you've been seeing in the news lately, and it's not the first time this has been floated around. And when you think that it's absolutely crazy, you need to stop and think for a second how crazy just the money printing scheme that the Federal Reserve has been doing in our country ever almost since its foundations. Because there's been three, I believe, versions of the Federal Reserve. A couple of them have been kicked out. We're just waiting for this one to go bye-bye. And every time someone tries to stand up and says, hey, you need to go, all of a sudden they're gone, if you know what I mean. But the fact of the matter is, there's this plan that's been floated out there to for the Federal Reserve, or the Fed, to back a $1 trillion platinum coin to keep the U.S. outside of a debt default. Now, again, like I said, this is not the first time this has happened, but I'm going to read this story, and it's about Janet Yellen shooting down the idea, and then I'm going to tell you exactly why she's doing that. It says right here, Janet Yellen has crushed hopes of the U.S. Treasury of their ability that they could mint a $1 trillion platinum coin to help cover the country's bills as it struggles with a debt default. Under the hashtag Mint the Coin plan, the White House would tell the U.S. Mint to issue a $1 trillion platinum coin, which would then be deposited at the Federal Reserve. The Biden administration could then withdraw the money to pay the government bills. Now, this sounds crazy, but it actually could work, and I'll explain that as well. Here's a quote. It truly is not by any means to be taken as a given that the Fed would do it. And I think especially with something that's a gimmick, Treasury Secretary Yellen said in a Wall Street Journal interview published on Sunday. Now, let me explain why Secretary Yellen said that. And let me remind you that our Treasury Secretary used to be the head of the Federal Reserve, okay, which is a private bank. It has nothing to do with the federal government. It is not federal, and it has no reserves, okay? It is a money planting or printing scheme. That's all it is, all right? The reason why she does not believe the Fed would take that is because they know it's just malarkey, right? Because to sit there and say, we're going to print a big old coin and we're just going to put $1 trillion on it, and that's the new number. Now, the government has done that before. We saw, what was it? FDR did it back in, I believe 1933, if my memory serves me right, where he changed the price of gold from a certain price to another price. Tell me down in the description what it was. I want to get the exact dollar and cents right. I'm going from memory. But my point being is that this has happened before. But the Federal Reserve wouldn't really like that. Why? Because they want you, because when the Fed makes money and the government, the Treasury, allows the Fed to print money and loan it to the government, they want all of that money back with interest. All right, so how would that work if all of a sudden the government goes, hey, we're paying our bills, $1 trillion coin. The Fed's going, you just made that up. Yeah, I know. We just made it up just like you. You just made all that funny money. Now we just made some funnier money. However, ironically, think about it. This would be an actual piece of platinum. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, guys, I went on record telling you guys I went and bought platinum, end of September, early October, I don't remember what it was. It was around $850, $870 an ounce. Since then, platinum's up. I want to say it's over $1,000 today, right? It's swinging up and down, but it's up pretty nicely. And I told you guys I went out and bought some and brought on a couple chartists, or a couple videos with Crypto Church Joe to talk about what was going on in the platinum markets, and then it was getting squeezed, right? That's another reason I don't think they want this to happen, because on the COMEX, there's still sort of a drawdown in the numbers. But it's interesting that Janet Yellen's words would have any weight, except for this time they do. Because she's right. The Federal Reserve does not want that. They do not want the government just making up valuations off the top of their head and going, no, it's good, the government's paid up. Because the Federal Reserve wants that money back with interest. And people just don't get it. Now, check this out. Another quote. The Fed is not required to accept it. There's no requirement on the part of the Fed. It's up to them what to do, said Yellen, a former chair of the U.S. Central Bank. Now, wouldn't that be interesting if the government or the president, now we need a better president that actually could stand up to the Treasury and the Fed, the Fed, and go, we're not going to accept your crap money anymore. You're a money printing scheme. All you do is you manipulate the currency through interest rates and through all kinds of other, avenues, interest rate manipulation, pulling money off the market, pushing it onto the market, all of that kind of stuff. We're not going to accept your crap either. That's really interesting. See, that's what happens when you have a Treasury Secretary that also was the Fed head. That's like it's like Goldman Sachs, all their big top guys going to work in the White House. This is not a good plan. See, our founding fathers actually set it up to where it was separate. You know, that's why we have separate branches of the government. We should also not allow people that worked for big banks working in the government. See, because what happens is it all comes together and gets really, really dark. That's why I believe you are going to start to see, regardless of come on, these bills are never going to pass. And this is just honestly, whoever came up with this bill, I didn't even care to look. It's just their way of just going, hey, look at me. I'm trying to do something. He or she knows nothing's going to happen. But what would happen is if everybody started picking up gold and silver, you know, the two monetary metals that are in the Constitution that says that our money shall be in no other form than gold and silver coinage, if we started buying it all up to where literally it's so hard to get a hold of and the price is skyrocketing because the demand is so strong, because still, as of today, I think less than 1% of the human population owns any physical silver or gold, that would be the stance. That's where you would see the pain come in for Wall Street and the bankers, and they would have to go, well, if you can't beat them, join them. That's what I've been trying to do to share with people. Guys, this isn't financial advice. I'm not a financial advisor. I'm just telling you what I'm doing. I believe that gold and silver is God's money, and I believe there is about to be a coming to Jesus moment in the financial markets. I really do believe that. I don't care what you believe. It's like, and you know, here, I'll tell you why. What's great about this country is we all get to believe our own way, right? And only the truth will out. That's the greatest part of this. If you disagree with this, it's okay. I had people disagree with me about Bitcoin and say I was, you know, a dork and, you know, a joke. That's fine. They still think that when Bitcoin's 20 grand. I don't care. Guys, be strong in your faith and your conviction when it comes to the monetary system, right? Understand we are in crazy times and it is going to get crazier. And with all of this crazy stuff going on with Saudi Arabia walking away from the US dollar, the petrodollar trade and moving into literally bed with China and Russia, I think that there's never been a better time to own gold, to be honest with you, or silver. And yes, I own platinum as well. And I think that those metals are only going to go up in value over the long term. Are they going to go down in the short term? Yeah. Look at Johnny Bravo's course or a video I led you to where he had a surprise announcement and he's super bullish on silver, but he says there's going to be a pullback. He literally said that. We did that video, a day or two ago, and look at what's going on in the markets. We're getting that pullback in silver. And he even said in that video, you could see silver in the 19s before it takes off. But he said, when it takes off, get ready because this bounce is going to be one for the history books. At least I put that into his mouth. He said he's very bullish on silver in the long term. And when he says long term, he's talking about this year. All right, guys, that being said, I thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great day. The Economic Ninja is out.